All right, welcome back to another video. So I definitely want to share this. So one of the things I was doing this morning, David Bumble, great channel. It's had some criticism that it focuses a bit too much on uh, like a cybersecurity hacker. It's I guess the main criticism levied against it that I've heard is that it's operating more like entertainment than it is like an educational channel. But this is just one of David Bumble's channels. If you take a course on GNS or like Coursera or something, you'll probably hear a familiar voice. David Bumble is a legit CCIE emeritus. I'm not sure if it's active right now. Established career in technology education. He's worth the subscribe for sure. Worth checking in on from time to time and staying up to date with what's on his channel. Because the best thing you get is kind of a feeling of what's big, what's new, what's happening in technology, which again, it can be skewed a little bit because it can be sensational. It can be to get you to subscribe rather than to do something that is aligned the most with your best interests. But yeah, love the channel. It's great. David Bumble is definitely the channel I recommend. So now there's a telling comment on here. So he's interviewing a child genius. I think she's 18 now, but she started working at the age of 15 and has a really good resume. At the age of 18, she got hired to NASA and did some revamping of their open source tools. She's created a number of her own apps. And yeah, just really brilliant, gifted person. But I want to talk about a LinkedIn post I just made first before we move on and read about situational awareness, because this really matters a lot. What we learned in reading the PDF Situational Awareness by Leopold Aschenbrenner, who's another kid like this, we learned that the ChatGPT, as we know it today, operates at the level of a particularly bright high school student. But it's going to increase in its capability by at least 2 orders of magnitude by 2027. So if it were a soccer ball, it would blow up to fill half the stadium. It would increase that dramatically. So this is the post I made. I'll just read the post verbatim. Before we sing praises to this kid as an exceptional genius and label her a once-in-a-generation child prodigy, remember that the things she's doing are essentially begging to be done. The open source offerings at NASA were archaic. Plenty of people, even those less bright, could have made legit contributions. The whole world is like this right now. We're at a crossroads. An average or even a below average person who is capable of using ChatGPT has access to a particularly bright high school study buddy that can teach them all kinds of game-changing skills right now. In a few months, the study buddy will operate at the level of a particularly bright high school student. And I'll change that. I'll change that typo there. There we go. After that, PhD student. After that, world-class researcher. By 2035, a super-intelligent entity that is impossible to properly imagine today will be well integrated into advanced civilization. This kid definitely deserves her praise, and I give it willingly, but the baseline for what a child can do and can learn and do before the age of 18 is being raised like a rocket to the moon, fueled by advancement AI. So I really believe that, yes, this kid is extraordinary. Immigrant family, had to do things like translate languages for her mother, so really kind of was thrown into a sink or swim deep end situation, and as a result figured out how to do things that most kids don't have to, and then that was transferable to learning things like coding. So a lot of motivation, a lot of raw horsepower for learning stuff and doing things well. But again, we're at a crossroads at humanity. We all have a particularly bright high school student in our pockets, and in a matter of months, we'll have a particularly bright college student, and it's going to go on from there. So I want to point one very telling comment here. This is a really funny comment that was left, and it's very telling. So the comment is, the comment was down here. It looks like I lost it. I thought the comment was kind of at the top. Here it is. She sounds, so here's the comments, and there's multiple of these. She sounds like an AI cyborg. Why does her voice sound like AI? So, you know what the answer is? It's probably because she uses a lot of AI. Her applications that she's talking about here integrate with AI. She knows the technology of LLMs, and she uses it. And that's the point. Oh, okay. Well, there's also this comment here. So it looks like it's because they edit her voice, and they're doing it in a way that makes it sound a bit artificial. But part of what she's doing is using AI. She's not just like a kid 5-10 years ago that would be learning C++, Python. Part of that grab bag of things she's doing is AI, and as AI grows, the kids that are using it are going to grow as well. So yeah, I'm not trying to take anything away from her. I'm not trying to say that she's just like everyone else. She is doing some extraordinary things, and I definitely applaud her for that. And not but I think the bar for what a kid can do it is changing so vastly that there is something to learn from this person and the way she's going about projects. I only watched 11 minutes so far, but one of the things she did is reviewed a code base at NASA that had all kinds of archaic, using old languages no one uses anymore, and she can just bring those up to speed. Anyone can do that. That's ubiquitous all around the world. The rate of technology is advancing so fast that that sort of thing is begging to be done, as I said. So yeah, I'm not taking anything away from her accomplishments and applauding her. I think everyone should watch this interview. I'll watch it later. Yeah, and then I wanted to read this post because I really believe this. I really believe that the bar is the baseline for what you can do in your life is being raised a lot. And it's being raised by advancement in AI. So, I just wanted to make that point. And with that, let's move on to continuing to read. All right. So, that's still very fast. Fundamental limits to algorithmic progress, optional in more depth. There's probably a real cap on how much algorithmic progress is physically possible. For example, sorry, I gotta sit down. For example, 25 orders of magnitude of algorithm progress seems impossible, since that would imply being able to train a GPT-4 level system in less than around 10 flops. Though you could get results that would take 25 more orders of magnitude of hardware with current architecture. But something like 5 orders of magnitude seems very much in the realm of possibilities. Again, that would just require another decade of trend algorithmic efficiencies, not even counting algorithmic gains from unhobbling. Intuitively, it very much doesn't seem like we have exhausted all the low-hanging fruit yet, given how simple the biggest breakthroughs are and how rudimentary and obviously hobbled current architectures and training techniques still seem to be. For example, I think it's pretty plausible that we'll bootstrap our way to AGI via AI systems that think out loud via chain of thought. But surely this isn't the most efficient way to do it. Surely something that does this reasoning via internal states / recurrence / etc. would be way more efficient. Or consider adaptive compute. Llama 3 still spends as much compute on predicting the AND token as it does the answer to some complicated question, which seems clearly suboptimal. We're getting huge orders of magnitude algorithmic gains from even just small tweaks, while there are dozens of areas where much more efficient architectures and training procedures could likely be found. Biological references also suggest huge headroom. The human range of intelligence is very wide. For example, with only tiny tweaks to architecture. Humans have, so like imagine if everyone was healthier. Imagine if we didn't have this obesity crisis. People would be a lot more intelligent. It's, I don't know if that's the case. I'm not trying to take away from people who are obese. Like, obese people can be just as or more intelligent as non-obese people. But, imagine someone dies like 20, 30 years earlier than they would. Or, like, their health span, they're in and out of the hospital, they can't focus. That's what I'm talking about. Humans have similar numbers of neurons as other animals, even though humans are much smarter than those animals. And current AI models are still many orders of magnitude from the efficiency of a human brain. They can learn with a tiny fraction of the data and thus tiny fraction of compute than AI models can, suggesting huge headroom for our algorithms and architecture. Ideas get harder to find and diminishing returns, optional in more depth. As you pick the low-hanging fruit, ideas get harder to find. This is true in any domain of technological progress. Essentially, we see a straight line on a log-log curve. Logarithmic progress is a function of log cumulative research effort. Every OOM of further progress requires putting in more research effort than the last OOM. This leads to two objections in the intelligence explosion. Number one, automated AI research will merely be what's necessary to sustain progress rather than dramatically accelerating it. Number two, purely algorithmic intelligence explosion would not be sustained / would quickly fizzle out as algorithmic progress gets harder to find. You hit diminishing marginal returns. I spent a lot of time thinking about these sorts of models in a past life when I was doing research in economics. In particular, endogenous growth theory is the standard model of technological progress. Capturing these two competing dynamics of growing research effort and ideas getting harder to find. In short, I think the underlying model behind these objections is sound, and how it shakes out is an empirical question, and I think they get the empirics wrong. The key question is essentially, for every 10 times of progress, does further progress become more or less than 10 times harder? Napkin math, along the lines of how this is done in the economic literature, helps us bound this. Suppose suppose we take the around half order of magnitude per year trend rate of algorithmic progress seriously. That implies a 100 times of progress in 4 years. However, quality adjusted headcount slash research effort at a given leading AI lab has definitely grown by less than 100 times in 4 years. Maybe it's increased 10 times from tens to 100s of people working on relevant stuff at a given lab, but even that is unclear quality adjusted. And yet, algorithmic progress seems to be sustained. All right, so thus, in response to objection 1, we can note that the about million-fold increase in research effort will simply be a much larger increase in what would merely be necessary to sustain progress. Maybe we need on the order of thousands of researchers working on relevant research at a lab in 4 years to sustain progress. The 100 million Alec Raffords would still be an enormous increase and surely lead to massive acceleration. It's just a bizarre knife-edge assumption to think that automated research would be just enough to sustain the existing pace of progress. And that's not even counting thinking at 10 times human speed and all other advantages the AI systems will have over human researchers. In response to objection 2, we can note 2 things. First, the mathematical condition noted above. Given that, based on our napkin math, quality adjusted research effort needed to grow. And then there's an extra operator there, so less than, so like a lot less than 100x, while we did 100x of algorithmic progress. It pretty strongly seems that the shape of the returns curve shakes out in favor of self-sustaining progress. 44, 100 times progress, and then an arrow, 100 times more automated. 100 times progress can lead to 100 times more automated research effort, but you say only needed 10 times more research effort to keep it going and do the next 100 times, so the returns are good enough for explosive progress to be sustained. Secondly, the returns curve doesn't even need to shake out in favor of a fully sustained chain reaction for us to get a bounded but many OOM surge of algorithmic progress. Essentially, it doesn't need to be a growth effect. A large enough level effect would be enough. That is a million-fold increase in research effort combined with the many other advantages automated researchers would have over human researchers would be such a large one-time boost that even if the chain reaction isn't fully self-sustaining, it could lead to a very sizable, many OOMs one-time gain. So, analogously, like an analog, analogously, let's get the pronunciation. All right, so pronunciation, please. No pronunciation for me.
Analogously. Analogously.
Analogous. That is really hard.
Analogously.
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 Wow.
Analogously.
But there's like a B sound.
Analogously.
Yeah, that is not how you pronounce it. There's something wrong with the video there. Um, okay, so let's see here. So what I'm going to do next is just continue on. So, and I don't need to worry about pronouncing that. It's like to make an analog in or an analogously in semi um, uh, endogenous economic growth theory. Boosting science advancement from 1% to 10% of GDP won't make growth rates higher forever. Eventually, diminishing returns would lead things to return to the old growth rate. But the level effect it would lead to would be so large as to dramatically speed up growth for decades. On net, while obviously it wouldn't be unbounded, and I have a lot of uncertainty over just how far it'll go, I think something like a 5 order of magnitude intelligence explosion purely from algorithmic gains / automated AI research seems highly plausible. Tom Davidson and Carl Schulman have also looked at the empirics of this in a growth modeling framework and come to similar conclusions. Epoch AI has also done some recent work on the empirics and coming to the conclusion that empirical returns to algorithmic R&D favors explosive growth with a helpful write-up of the implications. All right, so the power of superintelligence. Whether or not you agree with the strongest form of these arguments, whether we get a less than 1 year intelligence explosion or it takes a few years, it is clear we must confront the possibility of superintelligence. The AI systems will likely have by the end of this decade will be unimaginably powerful. Of course, they'll be quantitatively superhuman. On our fleets of hundreds of millions of GPUs by the end of the decade, we'll be able to run a civilization of billions of them, and they will be able to think orders of magnitude faster than humans. They'll be able to quickly master any domain, write trillions of lines of code, read every research paper in every scientific field ever written. They'll be perfectly interdisciplinary, which is a big problem in science, from what I understand. Or you just get so far deep into the weeds of one thing, you can't even come close to understanding another because there's just not enough time to be that much of an expert in more than one thing. And write new ones before you've gotten past the abstract of one. Learn from the parallel experience of every one of its copies. Gain billions of human equivalent years of experience with some new innovation in a matter of weeks. Work 100% of the time with peak energy and focus, and won't be slowed down by that one teammate who is lagging, and so on. More importantly, but harder to imagine, they'll be qualitatively superhuman. As a narrow example of this, large-scale reinforcement learning runs have been able to produce completely novel and creative behaviors beyond human understanding, such as the famous move 37 in AlphaGo versus Lee Sedol. And a really good, there's a really good free video online about this. I forget what it's called, but it's really good. I recommend it to anyone. And it's free. You can just watch it on YouTube. So it's called AlphaGo. And it's free because Google DeepMind, who worked on Alpha, who beat Lee Sedol with their product, put it out there for free, and it's a full feature length hour and a half movie, and it's got all the Hollywood things behind it, so it's really easy to watch, and it's probably the best way to get up to speed on this advancement, because this was one of the most significant recent advancements in AI. And when I say recent, I mean like a decade ago. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so superintelligence would be like this across many domains. It'll find exploits in human code too subtle for any human to notice, and it'll generate code too complicated for any human to understand, even if the model spent decades trying to explain it. Extremely difficult scientific and technological problems that a human would be stuck on for decades will seem just so obvious to them. Will be like high schoolers stuck on Newtonian physics while it's off exploring quantum mechanics. As an example of how wild this could be, look at some YouTube videos of video game speedruns, such as this one of beating Minecraft in 20 seconds. If you have no idea what's going on in this video, you're in good company. Even most normal players of Minecraft have almost no clue what's going on. So, yeah, it's just able to use things that humans can't think of. So that's basically what superintelligence is, an entity that can do things that humans can't. All right. All right. So this is not yeah, this is not yeah, so it just beat the game, and it was not sped up. It was actually slowed down. Yeah. So it's beating a video game. Um, yeah, and what it did is it did it in slow motion, and then this is the actual speed of the game if you were to play it yourself. Now the game doesn't operate at the speed, but the the way the AI is able to play it makes it look as if the video was sped up. Uh, so yeah, so that's what it'll look like all throughout society. The AIs will be able to beat something in 20 seconds. That on average, how long does it take a human to beat Minecraft? That would take a human um, uh, playing the game. Let's not even say playing the game casually. Let's say playing the game as a speed run. It would take them 10 to 20 minutes. And now the AI can do it in 10 to 20 seconds. And this is a speedrunner. This is an experienced player attempting a speed run. So, okay. Now imagine this applied to all domains of science, technology, and the economy. Wow. The error bars here, of course, are extremely large. Still, this is happening, and it's important to consider just how consequential this would be. So, yeah, human progress. This is from a pretty good write-up. So, figure 25, what does it feel like to stand here? Illustration from Wait But Why. So, yeah, if you're doubting this because you're feeling like, oh, well, of course society isn't changing this much, ChatGPT is just this kind of gimmicky little chat program like Microsoft Clippy that actually kind of works on some things, but it's going to go the way of Microsoft Clippy. It's just not that great. It's like it's not that great yet. Like, like that's actually a good example of how much it'll change. This is in a way a version of Microsoft Clippy, and that was horrible. It was not useful at all. It was malware. It broke everything. And this is not doing that. Now you have to use ChatGPT carefully. You have to know what you're doing, but that's where it's going to change. Is it should be able to teach you. So yeah. So if it seems like this can't be true because everything feels more or less the same as it did before, well, wait a year, waited two, and then reassess that. And the thing is, it's all gonna seem normal too, because it's going to you're gonna see see it more gradually. You can think of it like if you're driving in a car and there's a sharp turn, even though you turn 90 degrees, as you make the turn, it kind of like straightens out, and it doesn't seem as if you're actually turning 90 degrees, even though so in the intelligence explosion, explosive progress was initially only in the narrow domain of automated AI research. As we get superintelligence and apply our billions of now superintelligent agents to R&D, research and development across many fields, I expect explosive progress to broaden. An AI capabilities explosion. Perhaps our initial AGIs had limitations that prevented them from fully automating work in some other domains, rather than just in the AI research domain. Automated AI research will quickly solve these, enabling automation of any kind and all cognitive work. Solve robotics. Superintelligence won't stay purely cognitive for long. Getting robots to work well is primarily an ML algorithms problem, rather than a hardware problem. And our automated AI researchers will likely be able to solve it more below. Factories would go from human run to AI directed using human physical labor to soon being fully run by swarms of robots. Drastically accelerate scientific and technological progress. Yes, Einstein alone couldn't develop neuroscience and build a semiconductor industry, but a billion super intelligent, automated scientists, engineers, technologists, and robot technicians, with the robots using at 10 times or more human speed. The 10-time speed robots doing physical R&D in the real world is the slow version. In reality, the super intelligences will try to do as much R&D as possible in simulation. Yep. Like AlphaFold or manufacturing digital twins. Yeah, so you can scale things up in parallel too. You can have robots all folding laundry at the same time, in a super intelligent way. They're just going to do things that we don't do right now because we just don't have the intelligent capacity to think of. Like, it's going to. There's a lot of changes coming very soon. There's a lot of changes that already happened. I mean, ChatGPT is operating at the level of a bright high schooler at least. Like, a lot of people are using it to good effect. All right, so would make extraordinary advances in many fields in the space of years. Here's a nice short story visualizing what AI-driven R&D might look like. You know what? I kind of am interested in this. So let's get that link. So we're going to go to situationalawareness.ai. Good. And then what we're going to do is go to the second section because that's where we're at. All right. And then we're going to go to the, we're going to Control F for short story. And hopefully It is very short. Um, and hopefully it's not behind a paywall. All right, so it's not. Well, it's pretty short. Let's get a summary of this from ChatGPT. Let's use this as a prompt. We'll just get the whole thing. Yeah, so it's gonna create a bunch of revolutionary new approaches, and then it's going to be able to get things right on the first try. So if there's a bottleneck, like it has to let a chemical reaction that takes 100 hours take 100 hours, it'll only take one time for it to do it, and then it'll be able to optimize the expensive operations, in a way that scientists can't right now. So. And this is coming quick. All right. Looks good. Looks good. All right. Yeah, I don't want to read that whole thing. So here's a nice short story visualizing what AI-driven R&D might look like. The billion superintelligences would be able to compress the R&D effort humans researchers would have done in the next century into years. Imagine if the technological progress of the next 20th century were compressed into less than a decade. We would have gone from flying being a thought. So we would have gone from flying being a thought, a mirage, to airplanes, to a man on the moon, and ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, in a matter of years. This is what I expect the 2030s to look like across science and technology. So, can you imagine that? So we're in a place where now think about this. We would have gone from flying being thought a mirage. So we would have thought, not from the Wright brothers, not from before the Wright brothers. Leonardo da Vinci wrote schematics for a flying machine. We would have gone from a state where we can't even identify what flying is yet. We see birds doing it, but we think they're doing some sort of magic spell. We don't know anything about the dynamics of flight. We don't know anything about lift, about anything like that, where we could even begin to think about designing a flying machine. That's where we are now, and that's going to be the difference between now and 2030 across pretty much all of science and technology. There will be some sort of advancement to that scale where we have no idea what is happening at all. We can't even understand it in a way. We can't even identify it at all. There's new novel insights in science and technology that humans just didn't even think of, let alone put together in a way that looks like putting a man on the moon or building an intercontinental ballistic missile. I mean, there's things that are just going to look as if they just pop into existence out of nowhere. Like, it's 2030, 2024 is a mind-boggling time. I mean, ChatGPT it's good. I have conversations with it. I kind of don't really want to show my private conversations all that much, but one of the things it does for me is it does this. So we created a data analysis program to track some metrics in my life and see how they change over time. We created a program to make ICS files that I can add to my calendar. So there's all kinds of things I've been neglecting in my life. I've been neglecting time to exercise. I've been neglecting some basic appointments with, and I can talk to ChatGPT and it can put them on my calendar. Like that's mind-boggling. It can do that. Now I could put it on my calendar myself, but that's the problem. I'm failing to do those sorts of things because it's not materializing into that concrete action, and that's why I fail to follow up. I fail to do the things that I intend. But when I talk to ChatGPT, it genuinely helps me. Yeah. Okay, so an industrial and economic explosion. And with that, I have to take a quick break. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Usually I fizzle out around the hour mark. Just depends on the day. Sometimes I can't do as much. Sometimes I can do more. So should be good for about 20 more minutes. An industrial and economic explosion. Extremely accelerated technological progress combined with the ability to automate all human labor could dramatically accelerate economic growth. Think self-replicating robot factories quickly covering all of the Nevada desert. And one thing I want to say quick is what is ChatGPT doing for me? How is it already in 2024 making my life way different than it was in 2023, especially 2022? If it's able to operate at the level of a particularly bright high school student. So you know what particularly bright high school students can do? They can be interns. It should be able to do just about anything an intern can do. What's the difference between having an intern and not? It could genuinely help to have an intern. So that's kind of how I use it a little bit. I have it help me with we can imagine further progress, a fleet of the greatest researchers making novel discoveries and novel insights, extremely accelerating technological progress, combined with the ability to automate all human labor, could dramatically accelerate economic growth, and it could lead to self-replicating robot factories quickly covering all of the Nevada desert. And it's super intelligent, so if it's aligned to our to humanity, it would do that. It would set up shop in the Sahara Desert. It wouldn't set up shop in the places humans want to live. The increase in growth probably wouldn't just be from 2% per year to 2.5% per year. Rather, this would be a fundamental shift in the growth regime, more comparable to the historical step change from very slow growth to a couple percent a year with the Industrial Revolution. We could see economic growth rates of 3% per year and beyond, quite possibly multiple doublings a year. This follows fairly straightforwardly from economists' models of economic growth. To be sure, this may well be delayed by societal frictions. Arcane regulation might ensure lawyers and doctors still need to be human, even if AI systems were much better at those jobs. Surely sand will be thrown into the gears of rapidly expanding robo-factories as society resists the pace of change, and perhaps will want to retain human nannies, all of which would slow the growth of the overall GDP statistics. Still, in whatever domains we remove human-created barriers, for example, competition might force us to do so for military production, we'd see an industrial explosion. So why isn't Factorio World? So Factorio is a video game where you build factories. Build a factory that produces more factories, producing even more factories, doubling factories until eventually your entire planet is quickly covered in factories. Possible today. Well, labor is constrained. You can accumulate capital, factories, tools, etc., but that runs into diminishing returns because it's constrained by a fixed labor force. With robots and AI systems being able to automatically automate labor, that removes that constraint. Robo factories could produce more robo factories in an unconstrained way, leading to an industrial explosion. See more economic growth models of this here. All right, so I'll advance the bookmark. Yeah, I mean that's a way that you can imagine the unimaginable as well. There was a switch that flipped, and I remember this. I'm old enough to remember this. Nobody had a smartphone. Nobody even had a dumb phone. We got to a point where we're using these dumb flip phones, and like that was better. You could call for a ride for your parents or something like that without having to like wait in line at a phone booth. I remember phone booths, and that was an enhancement. And then we got these smartphones in our pockets, these things that are alien technology to even myself, a long time ago. That's what's going to happen. Like by 2030, like some new product as game changing as a smartphone will be in all of our pockets. All right, so here's a table. It's table 3. A shift in the growth regime is not unprecedented, as civilization went from hunting to farming to the blossoming of science and commerce to industry. The pace of global economic growth accelerated. And I just want to say one more thing. That already happened. We already have unimaginable alien technology, similar to how we went from not having any phones to having these flip phones, these goofy flip phones in the early 2000s, to having smartphones. And that is AI headsets. AI headsets are miraculous. Oculus Quest 2. I have the Oculus Quest 1. I had mind-blowing experiences. Even with an Oculus Quest 1, you should be able to get an Oculus Quest 1 today for nothing. But an Oculus Quest 1 is a bit out of date. An Oculus Quest 2, from what I understand, is a pretty good headset. So this is probably an Oculus 2 because I don't think they sell ones anymore. But that's affordable. Like if you're a family could buy this if they don't buy an Xbox or something like that. And there's a game called Tetris Effect. You'll see if you play Tetris Effect, like we are in a different world with different kinds of experiences. Tetris Effect is a mind-blowing game. It's just like I've played it multiple times, but that first time you play it, it's like no, like we're in a new world. This is something different than smartphones, and this is the next level of technology. Like if you really want to feel what it's like to be on here on the graph and forward, and you've never done VR, like get an Oculus Quest, buy Tetris Effect, and you're gonna really feel it. It's like, oh wow, this is an experience humanity hasn't been able to have until now. And that's where people are like talking about simulation theory, because it messes with your brain. It's like, if it's possible to experience a virtual world at this quality now, imagine this super intelligence explosion. It's like, it's possible that everything we're experiencing right now is just simulated. And to be honest, like VR isn't that great in a lot of ways too. Motion sickness is still a problem. Like you just have to get used to it and use it for a while to get over that. And then the graphics are pretty poor as well for a lot of things. But that's where AI will be focusing. It'll make everything better. It'll make AI experiences better. VR experiences better. So all right, so table three, a shift in the growth regime is not unprecedented. As civilization went from hunting to farming to the blossoming of science and commerce to industry, the pace of global economic growth accelerated. Superintelligence could kick off another shift in growth mode, based on Robin Hansen's long run growth as a sequence of exponential modes. So here's the growth mode. So we've got hunting, which is a way to sustain ourselves. Then we've got farming is a more advanced way. Science and commerce, and then industry. And the date they began to dominate is hunting was done all throughout antiquity. I feel like gathering is a better word. I feel like hunting is um, would have been far less common than gathering. So I'm just gonna swap that out and say gathering. So just going and putting things you find out in nature, and hunting is kind of a form of gathering, but so it became so all throughout antiquity people were hunting and gathering, doubling time of global economy. So if we were just hunters and gatherers, it would take 230,000 years for the global economy to double. But then we discovered farming in 4,700 BC. So the difference between gathering, which I think is a much better way to think of it than hunting, because then you can more clearly think of the difference between gathering and farming. Although farming you do with animals as well, animal husbandry, but you grow your own crops, so you no longer find existing crops in nature. You grow them yourself in an optimal location where you can harvest them more easily. So that began to dominate in 4,700 BC, and then with that advancement, it would take 860 years for the global economy to double. Then we got Mr. Bacon, and not Kevin Bacon, Francis Bacon, and the period of the Enlightenment in Europe, and I think India was pivotal. It happened around the world. It's just I don't know why, but around 1730 A.D., which you think about how recent that is in the context of these other discoveries. That's your great grandfather. Like that's recent. My grandfather was born in 1900, around then probably. So that's that's two generations for the next one. But prior to that, science and commerce began around 1730 A.D. And that made it so that it only took 58 years. So now it's in the course of a person's lifetime, the global economy can double because we have science and commerce. And let's look a little bit more into that date, 1730. And let's ask ChatGPT about that. So tell me more about the date 1730 AD. And I don't know where the voice is. I need the voice. Where's the voice?
The year 1730 AD falls within the early 18th.
Oh, you know what? I turned it off because I wanted to. For personal stuff. I talked to this overly enthusiastic, a little bit kind of odd. I think he's. Oh, this is so politically incorrect to say, but it sounds like the. This is. I don't want to say this on my channel, but it sounds like the Cove. It sounds like he's. I really don't want to say this, but it sounds like he's homosexual. Yeah. So, but anyway, that's the voice I use because I've tried some of the other voices, and for personal stuff, because it's operating at the level of a particularly bright high school student, which can be like an intern. So like I like the enthusiasm. I like that it sounds like it really cares about the things that I'm saying. So I use that voice for personal stuff. But for learning, I really like that robotic voice that speaks really fast. A lot better. And it felt weird to say that because it's a robot. It doesn't have a sexuality, but it's going to be doing those sorts of things where we anthropomorphize this a lot more. So I personally would have picked the Scarlett Johansson voice if it was available, but unfortunately they took that away. So I'm using this voice for now, but eventually I'm sure I'll change voices. Not that I don't like the voice or it's not useful to me. Just that I want to talk to Scarlett Johansson. Okay, let's see here. So we're gonna change the voice. Yeah, so we're gonna unselect this, and now we can talk to that fast speaking, more robotic sounding voice that I really like. Like Cove is the voice I imagine. I imagine like it's modeled after Sam Altman. I imagine like Sam Altman in his personal life sounds a lot like Cove, which is fine. It's a useful voice I use for, it's the voice I use out of the four that are available. I've tried the other ones a little bit, but not so much. Mostly it's just the one I've been using the most, so. All right, so something's going wrong, so let's refresh it and see if it works now.
The year 1730 AD falls within in the early.
Okay, so we still got Cove, the kind of overly enthusiastic, not quite super professional sounding voice. So we want to switch to this voice instead. Okay. I don't know how to do that.
The year 1738.
Shoot. Hold on a second. So, hold on a second. Hold on.
Sure, take your time.
Okay, there we go.
Let me know when you're ready or if there's something specific you'd like to discuss or elaborate on regarding 1730 AD or any other topic.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I just needed to change the voice, so it looks like I can't change the voice within the already generated message, so it has to generate a new message for the voice to change. So great, now I'm talking to you, a new voice, which is the voice I like for academic stuff. So let's talk about the year 1730 again. Just basically print out the same thing that was printed out before, but keep it a bit more brief. It's a bit longer than I wanted.
Certainly. Here's a more concise version about the year 1730 AD, political and historical events Europe, War of the Polish Succession, 1733 to 1738, tensions building around succession to the Polish throne. Frederick William I of Prussia strengthened the Prussian state with military reforms. Asia, Qing Dynasty in China, Yongzheng Emperor, 1722 to 1735, implemented significant reforms. Maratha Empire in India, expanding territory, challenging the Mughal Empire. Americas, colonial expansion, European powers expanding colonies, increased interactions with indigenous peoples. Slavery, peak of the transatlantic slave trade.
Oh.
Scientific and technological advances alignment, promoting reason, science, and intellectual interchange with figures like Voltaire. John Hadley, developed the octant, an important navigational instrument. Cultural developments music, Johann Sebastian Bach producing significant compositions in Leipzig.
Oh, this was the time of
Literature,
Bach.
Jonathan Swift, influential satirist, author of Gulliver's Travels.
That's
Art,
cool.
Rococo style, ornate and decorative art with figures like Jean-Antoine Watteau. Social and economic context industrialization, early stages, laying groundwork for future growth in Britain.
Why?
Trade and commerce, expanding global trade networks, rise of mercantilism, and powerful trading companies. In summary, 1730 AD was a transformative year with significant...
So why, like, what about this year made it so significant? Like, you know, there's a lot of, let's see here. So this would have been like the Baroque area of music, right? Like Bach is kind of from that period. So like, how come it happened in around like 1730 and not like, you know, 1630 or it wasn't pushed back until 1830? Like, what's significant about this year? Like, I know you've mentioned the it was the height of the slave trade, which sounds kind of bad. Hopefully it wasn't built on that, but like, you know, that was in America, right? Like a lot of the scientific enlightenment happened in Europe, right? So like what, you know, was Voltaire just like that important? Like, I know Bach was pretty awesome. Really, like, did it just come down to like Voltaire was like that big of a badass that he like invented science? Or like, I'm pretty sure like Francis Bacon had something to do with it too. So like, is that what happened? Is just like these magical people were born? Or like, is there something unique about that year that could be you know, mixed together in a pot and applied to any other year to have some significant form of transformative advancement?
The significance of the year 1730 and the broader period of the early 18th century can be attributed to several interconnected factors, rather than a single cause or a few individuals. Here's an overview of why this period was transformative. Historical context: the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment was a broad intellectual movement that had been gaining momentum since the late 17th century. Key figures like Voltaire, John Locke, and Francis Bacon laid the groundwork for this period of critical thinking, scientific inquiry, and
it's because they stopped religion. It's because they stopped with, okay, so it's because they stopped with like religion. Like, they stopped, like, everything had to be about religion, and they started like thinking about things like outside of the context of like what they've always thought about. Like, that they've, like, you know, enlightenment, like, you know, it's not just all about religion anymore. They can think about whatever they want. So they're thinking about thought itself. They're thinking about how to prove that things are true or not, and they stop trusting these religious institutions that, you know, are not making their lives any better, that are just telling them, you know, magic and wishes and things that don't actually work to make somebody's life better. So, and then that coupled with the invention of the printing press, honestly, that's probably the biggest thing, is they have this printing press. It was developed earlier, but you know, for technology to catch on and to spread probably takes a while. Back then, with the technology being so primitive, it probably took two additional centuries. So that makes a lot of sense to me now. Basically, there's this widespread dissatisfaction with the current ways things are, which I'm sure there probably always had been. But probably one of the biggest things is the printing press was invented. So now you can coordinate and plan how to do something new, and you can think about thinking. You can think and you can develop science as such, and you're not just locked into, like, you know, only thinking about religion. I feel like that's a big, like, Galileo's the perfect example. You know, the Earth revolves around the sun. Like, you weren't allowed to think that, and I think people were prosecuted for thinking that. But, you know, they could, so like, you know, you could disseminate and share ideas due to this printing press, and so like the scientific revolution happened a little bit before 1730, but like we know that like Galileo was prosecuted by the church, I think, or like some, if not Galileo, then like other scientists were. And we know that Isaac Newton spent like at least half his career on like magical alchemy, science that he was trying to like create gold and do like stupid things. So like, the printing press, I think, made a huge difference. If Isaac Newton was able to use the printing press to mail letters and correspond with the brightest mind in India, that might have made a big difference. And I think by 1730, that sort of thing was probably happening a lot more. And then people had more time to think and dwell upon these major discoveries from the earlier centuries. And then people are just happier. They're making awesome art. The Baroque period is awesome. Some of my favorite music today is from the Baroque period. I'm actually kind of obsessed with the idea of building my own wooden pipe organ and learning Bach on it. I'm kind of obsessed with that idea. I really want to do that, but I don't really have the know-how nor the time to do that, and I've got all sorts of other things I need to do instead. So there were advancements in navigation and shipbuilding because of the colonization or the expansion of European colonies in other parts of the world. The slave trade probably had something to do with it. That's too bad. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. There's a large movement of people able to think outside of the box of religious superstition, magic, things that don't work. They developed the scientific method and took a 180-degree turn from appealing to a higher power to appealing to the evidence instead. So, okay. So, yeah, okay, that makes sense to me. Thank you.
You're absolutely right in identifying a key shift away from religious dogma and towards empirical evidence and rational thought as a driving force
that
behind the
mattered a
transformations
lot.
of the early 18th century. Here are some key points that align with your reflections. Shift from religious dogma, decline of religious authority. During the Enlightenment, people began to question the absolute authority of the church and
I have to take a break. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So, you're absolutely right. Yeah. So let me, now that I can listen, let's hear it again.
You're absolutely right in
Oh
identifying
no!
a key
Come on,
shift
dude.
away from religion.
You're not. I don't want to hear from you when it comes to this sort of thing. Let's see here. So, that sucks. Sorry, can you please print that out again? And can you make it a little bit more concise?
Certainly. Here's a more concise summary. Shift from religious dogma, decline of religious authority. People began questioning the church's absolute authority, allowing for broader inquiry and new ideas beyond religious explanations. Scientific inquiry. Figures like Galileo faced persecution, but ultimately, scientific discoveries shifted towards evidence-based understanding.
Yeah,
Printing press and
evidence.
dissemination of ideas. Printing press, invented by Gutenberg in the mid-15th century, it revolutionized knowledge dissemination by the 18th century. Intellectual exchange, enabled rapid sharing of ideas and debate among intellectuals across Europe. Scientific method and rational thought. Scientific revolution, laid by figures like Francis Bacon and Isaac Newton, emphasizing systematic observation and experimentation. Empirical evidence, shifted from mystical explanations to evidence-based science, leading to significant advancements. Cultural and artistic flourishing. Baroque and Rococo periods, creative explosions in music, art, and architecture with figures like Johann Sebastian Bach.
Empiricism.
Scientific inspiration, art and music were often inspired by scientific and intellectual advancements. Economic and social changes. Colonial expansion, provide resources and wealth for scientific research and artistic patronage despite ethical issues. Early industrialization, advances in navigation, shipbuilding, and manufacturing set the stage for the Industrial Revolution. Enlightenment thinkers, philosophers, and scientists, Voltaire, John Locke, and others promoted reason, individualism, and skepticism of traditional authority. Conclusion. The early 18th century was transformative due to questioning religious authority, the spread of ideas via the printing press, the scientific method, economic growth from colonialism, and a cultural renaissance. These factors combined to foster significant progress in science and the arts, creating an enduring legacy.
So can you give me a plan for making my own small wooden pipe organ? So I want it to sound like pretty circusy and like cool, and I want to learn Bach on it, and I want to learn it in whole beat. So like I'm gonna play really slow on it, so it should be possible for someone like me to learn it, like if I'm playing it slow. And I want it to be like pretty small so that I can play it in a 1-bedroom apartment and not bother the neighbors. I don't want it to be like a giant, massive, loud, screeching organ for like a church ceremony. I want it to be like a small, really cool sounding like organ that like doesn't extend much beyond the room that it's played in. Oh, I want this so
Building a small wooden
bad.
pipe organ for your apartment that sounds cool and circusy is a
I
fantastic
want
project.
this
Here's a
so
step-by-step plan to guide
bad.
you through the process. Step 1. Planning and design research and inspiration. Create
Yeah.
small pipe organs, such as positive organs or portative organs.
Oh yeah. It
Look for
will
existing
be a
DIY projects and
positive
kits that might
organ.
suit your needs.
It'll be
Find
positive.
specifications, size, ensure it fits comfortably in a one-bedroom apartment.
It'll be like
Sound. Aim for a softer volume with a circusy tone. Range. Decide on the number of
it'll be
octaves.
like
2 to
this.
3 octaves should suffice. Materials and
I
tools.
like this.
Wood. Choose light and durable wood like pine or poplar. Pipes. Metal or wooden
Yeah.
pipes. Wooden pipes tend to produce a warmer sound. Bellows. Leather or synthetic material for durability. Keyboard. Consider a small, lightweight keyboard.
Yeah. So the specifications. It'll be like pretty much like this. It'll be like this. It'll be like this. We're gonna open the link in the new tab, and then we're going to now these here I can't just buy one because it's like $20,000 for like the cheapest one they have. Organs are insane. It's like if you go to a big church and they have like a giant organ in them, it's like $500,000. It can be like $1 million. So like if you could just build it yourself for like the cost of the raw parts, you could pretty easily make a career for yourself as like an actual organ builder. So I'm gonna give it these examples for like what I want it to look like. So here's some examples of this one would be good too. I just don't want it to sound like like a baseball game organ or like a church organ. I want it to be like really like kind of like almost like like circusy, yeah, but not circusy as in like bright. I want it to play like Bach on it. I don't want it to sound like Phantom of the Opera either. I want it to be whimsical. Okay, so I want it to be whimsical. I want it to sound circusy. I'm having trouble like describing how I want it to sound, but I want it to be like whimsical, to create like put Bach on it. I want it to sound like really, yeah. So I think you understand. I think you understand for sure. I'm gonna give you a few pictures of like what I think I want it to look like. And hopefully those pictures help you get a better understanding of like what I'm trying to build. It's definitely going to be a positive style organ.
Great. A whimsical, circusy, positive style organ sounds like a wonderful and fun project.
Yeah.
I understand the aesthetic and sound you're aiming for.
Oh, I want it so bad. I'm sorry.
I'm just a plan that takes into account your desire for whimsy.
I'm so completely distracted. But like this would be so cool, and like this is a big time career opportunity too. Like if in a weekend I can pound. Yeah. So I'm sorry. I'm like super distracted from like things I should be doing right now, thinking about this instead. But this is just so exciting to me, and it would be a really good like side hustle, career opportunity. It's like if in a weekend, in a matter of like under 20 hours, I could just crank out like a positive style home organ that like plugs in and is like easy to play. I could sell it for like $10,000, $5,000, and like if the cost of the raw materials is like under $1,000, that would be like such a good like business opportunity. And like a lot of these organs sell for like $20,000, so like maybe I could even sell it for that. But honestly, if I just sell like a home organ that's like really cool and people like, it should be pretty easy to sell for a few $1,000s. $5,000-$10,000 shouldn't be too bad. And if it takes me less than $1,000 to build, and I can do it all in one weekend, that would be like so cool.
That sounds like an exciting and potentially lucrative venture. Creating and selling whimsical, positive style home organs could indeed be a unique niche market. Here's a streamlined plan to help you turn this idea into a viable business. Step 1. Research and design market research. Investigate current prices, features, and customer preferences for home organs. Identify your target market, musicians, hobbyists, collectors, etc. Design blueprint. Create a standard design template for your organs that is whimsical and appealing. Ensure the design is easy to replicate and customizable for individual clients.
Yeah, so here's some examples.
Step 2. Materials and tools. Sourcing materials. Identify suppliers for high-quality wood, leather, pipes, and decorative materials. Aim to keep the cost of raw materials under $1,000 per organ. Tools. Invest in essential woodworking tools and equipment for precision work. Ensure you have...
Yeah. Like, this would be perfect. This is like exactly... This is exactly it. And then you put it on your own... Yeah.
These examples are excellent and provide a clear visual guide for creating a whimsical positive style organ. Here's a more detailed plan incorporating these styles. Step 1. Planning and design. Define specifications. Size. Compact enough for one bedroom apartment. Sound. Soft, circusy, and whimsical tone. Range. 2 to 3 octaves. Materials and tools. Wood, pine or poplar for the frame and pipes. Pipes.
Okay, so estimate like how many hours this would take me to build, and like estimate the difficulty of this. Like rank it a difficulty rating like out of 10. Like a 10 out of 10 means it's so difficult that I have to be like a professional doing this 40 hours a week after like 10 years in order to even make one that, you know, sounds that even like works at all. A 1 being, you know, like a 15-year-old could pretty easily make it. So like assign it a ranking for difficulty and estimate how many hours it would take to complete. I'm so excited about this. Oh, it's high.
Difficulty rating and time estimate. Difficulty rating. 6 out of 10 explanation. Building a small, whimsical pipe organ involves woodworking, basic mechanical assembly, and some knowledge of musical instrument tuning. While not as complex as a full-size church organ, it requires precision and care, especially in the tuning and voicing of the
That's
pipes.
too bad.
A person with intermediate DIY skills, familiarity with woodworking tools, and some basic understanding of mechanics and music theory could complete this project with some dedication. Time estimate. 40 to 50 hours breakdown. Research and design. 5 hours planning, gathering materials, and designing the organ.
Yeah.
Materials preparation. 10 hours cutting and preparing wooden pipes, bellows, and frame components.
Okay, so make me a shopping list of all the materials I would need, and make sure that I can get everything from Home Depot. Yeah, so I need wood. Oh my god. This is so cool. I'm sorry. This is a giant but you know, this is good because imagine somebody doing this for a nuclear weapon. You know, this is the world we're in right now. It's doing it. Like, it's helping me build this. You know, it can help people build, you know, bioweapons. It can help people build nuclear weapons. Like, we can see how game-changing this is. You know,
Shopping list for whimsical, positive style pipe organ. Here's a comprehensive shopping list for the materials you'll need, assuming you're sourcing them from home.
Okay, now give me actual links to the Home Depot page where I can order these and then pick them up in the store. So like, for example, here's the homepage of Home Depot. So like, do searches for each of these parts and then provide me with the link where I can make the purchases and I can go into the store and pick up all the parts. And here's a reminder for how, and here's a reminder screenshot for how I want my organ to look. Yeah, I want it to be like this. This is so cool. Wow. And see what it's doing? Site : Home Depot. So it's doing Google searches. Wow.
Shopping list for building a whimsical, positive style pipe organ. Here are the links to the Home Depot pages where you can purchase the materials you'll need for your project. Wooden lumber, pine boards for the frame and support structure. 1 in.
Look at that.
X12 in. Bed 12 feet.
Wow.
Board 1 in. X12 in. by 6 feet. Pine common board 1 in. X12 in. By 4 feet. Pine common board 1 in. X12 in. By 8 feet. Pine common board. Fasteners and adhesives wood glue. Head bond original wood glue. Pony bow. Zinc plated flathead Phillips wood screws 100 back. Everbuild number 6 by 3/4 in.
So cool.
Zinc plated flathead Phillips wood screws 100 back. Finishing nails. Group pride 1 minus 1 half in. Bright steel finish nails 1 LB back. Tools, if not already owned. Saw. DeWalt 15 amp cord 7 minus 1/4 in. Circular saw. Clamps. Bessie 36 in. Clutch style bar clamp with composite plastic handle and 3 minus 1 half in. Throw depth. Drill. Ryobi 1 plus 18 volts cordless 1 half in. Drill. Driver kit with 1.5 Ah battery and charger. Sander. DeWalt 20 volt max cordless 5 in. Random orbital sander. Tool only. Bellows and wind supply leather or synthetic material. Check the upholstery section in store or online specialty stores for leather scraps or synthetic leather.
This would be harder.
Small brass hinges. Everbolt 1 minus 1 half in. X1 minus 1 half in. Brass hinge. 4 back. Flexible tubing. Watts 1 half in. By 10 feet. Clear PVC tubing. Decorative materials paint. Bare premium plus 8 ounces. Ultra pure white eggshell enamel interior paint and primer in 1 sample. Assorted colors available. Varnish. Varithane 1 quart. Clear satin water based interior polyurethane. Paint brush.
Okay, now give me the dimensions of this thing once it's all built, so I can imagine like where I could put it in my apartment.
To ensure your whimsical, positive style pipe organ fits well in your apartment,
Okay.
let's establish some estimated dimensions based on similar designs. Estimated dimensions: height 4 to 5 feet, 48 to 60 inches. This height allows
Alright.
for the organ pipes to be visually prominent without overwhelming the space.
This is
Width 2 to 3
insane.
feet, 24 to 36 inches. A width of about 2.5 feet should comfortably fit most designs and provides enough room for the pipes and keyboard. Depth 1. Example placement: living room corner. Place it in a corner of the living room where it can be a conversation piece. Along the wall. Position it against the wall in a hallway or spare room, making sure there's enough space for you to play comfortably. Next to a window. Placing it near a window can provide good lighting for when you're playing. Detailed dimensions: example height 54 inches, 4.5 feet, width 3 inches, 2.5 feet, depth 20 inches, 1.67 feet. These dimensions ensure that the organ is substantial enough to produce a good sound while remaining compact enough for apartment living.
Yeah.
Visual reference here is a reminder of the style you're aiming for. Positive style organ example.
So I have a tape measure here, so I can actually envision where this is going to be. So it should be about 4.5 inches tall, or it should be about 4.5 feet tall. So let me take my measurement. Okay, so so 5, so it'll be so 48, it'll be 54 inches tall. So that's very tall. Okay, all right, I should be able to play it like sitting on the floor, so that'll be good. Then it's going to be 2.5 inches wide. All right. So 2.5 feet wide. So 2 feet is there. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Oh, that's actually very wide. Should be okay. Yeah. Oh, and over there, I could put it over there, and it doesn't really matter. And then depth. I guess I'm not sure what's meant by depth, but yeah, it should fit in this room. Wow. All right. Well, let's take a look at those links and honestly, so estimate the total costs of purchasing everything I need for this organ. Wow.
Here's an estimated total cost of purchasing all the materials needed for building your whimsical
Look at
positive style pipe
that.
organ from Home Depot. This includes links to each item for your convenience. Wooden lumber pine boards for the frame and support structure, 1 in. X12 in. By 12 feet. Pine common softwood board minus $30.48 each.
Oh
1
my
in.
god.
X12 in. By 6 feet. Pine common board minus $17.28 each. 1 in. X12 in. By 4 feet. Pine common board minus $13.98 each. 1 in. X12 in. By 8 feet. Pine common board minus $24.48 each. Assuming you need 2 pieces of 1 by 12 by 12 feet boards. 2 pieces of 1 by 12 by 6 feet boards. 2 pieces of 1 by 12 by 4 feet boards. 2 pieces of 1 by 12 by 8 feet boards. Cost of lumber, 2 times 30.48 plus 2 times 17.28 plus 2 times 13.98 plus 2 times 24.48 equals $152.96 plus $34.56 plus $27.96 plus $48.96 equals $264.44. 2 times 30.48 plus 2 times 17.28 plus 2 times 13.98 plus 2 times 24.48 equals $152.96 plus $34.56 plus $27.96 plus $48.96 equals $264.44. 2 times 30.48 plus 2 times 17.28 plus 2 times 13.98 plus 2 times 24.48 equals $152.96 plus $34.56 plus $27.96 plus $48.96 equals $264.44. Fasteners and adhesives wood glue. Head bond original wood glue minus $7.98. Zinc plated flathead Phillips wood screws 100 back minus $6.58. Everbuild number 6 by 3/4 in. Zinc plated flathead Phillips wood screws 100 back minus $5.58. Finishing nails. Group right 1 minus 1/2 in. Bright steel finish nails 1 LB back minus $3.98. Cost of fasteners and adhesives, $7.98 plus $6.58 plus $5.58 plus $3.98 equals $24.12. $7.98 plus $6.58 plus $5.58 plus $3.98 equals $24.12. 7.98 plus $6.58 plus $5.58 plus $3.98 equals $24.12. Tools, if not already owned, saw, DeWalt 15 amp cord 7 minus 1/4 in. Circular saw minus $139. Clamps, Bessie 36 in. Clutch style bar clamp with composite plastic handle and 3 minus 1/2 in. Third depth minus $16.97 each, assuming 4 clamps needed. 4 times 16.97 equals $67.884 times 16.97 equals $67.884 times 16.97 equals $67.88. Drill, Ryobi 1 plus 18 volts cordless 1/2 in. Drill, driver kit with 1.5 hour battery and charger minus $79. Sander, DeWalt 20 volt max cordless 5 in. Random orbital sander, tool only, minus $129. Cost of tools, $139 plus $67.88 plus $79 plus $129 equals $414.88. $139 plus $67.88 plus $79 plus $129 equals $414.88. $139.00 plus $67.88 plus $79 plus $129 equals $414.88. Bellows and wind supply small brass hinges, Everbolt 1 minus 1/2 in. X1 minus 1/2 in. Brass hinge, 4 pack, minus $3.97. Flexible tubing, watts 1/2 in. By 10 feet. Clear PVC tubing minus $5.87. Cost of bellows and wind supply, $3.97 plus $5.87 equals $9.84. $3.97 plus $5.87 equals $9.84. 3.97 plus $5.87 equals $9.84. Decorative materials paint, bare premium plus 8 ounces. Ultra pure white eggshell enamel interior paint and primer in 1 sample minus $3.98 each, assuming 5 colors. 5 times 3.98 equals $19.905 times 3.98 equals $19.905 times 3.98.
All right, I'll be back in just a moment. All right, I'm back. So remember what I said about ChatGPT. It can operate at the level of a particularly bright high school student. So high school science fair pipe organ. You know what particularly bright high school students have done? They've made their own pipe organs. Like it's not an uncommon project in like science Olympiad, science fairs, things like that. So it can help me do this. Like it's crazy. And there's plenty of people doing it. Nippocast is a great channel I've subscribed to. You know, like you know, these are not necessarily professional, full-time, dedicated organ builders. You know, this is a home project by. Now this person is, but this person is a year 8 project. It took her 8 months, but this was 2017, so she didn't have ChatGPT, and yeah, so like, you know, this is a year 8 student working for 6 months without ChatGPT. ChatGPT is now more intelligent than this person. Now it is. In months, years, it's going to be more intelligent than the developers of it. Okay, so, man, I'm sorry. I'm just so thoroughly and completely distracted right now because this is the kind of thing that really... Yeah, so this is what I want. This is what I want. And this guy did it. He did it 2 years ago before ChatGPT. He's appears to be a younger guy. Yeah, this is what I want. That's what I want in my life. So yeah, it's ChatGPT might get me there. We can see ChatGPT gave me similar instructions as we can see on this site. Yeah, so now this person had access to a full woodworking shop. I do not have that. Can you please like redesign the plan? I do not have access to a full woodworking shop. All I have is a garage, and I'm in an apartment complex, so I don't know how noisy I can be to use power tools. So can you please redesign it so like it's hand tools and it won't be like too crazy noisy, and I can just do it like in my garage or just like on the porch of my 1-bedroom apartment?
Let's redesign the
Wow.
plan so it can be accomplished with hand tools and minimal noise, suitable for a garage or apartment porch.
Okay.
This version will focus on simplicity and ease of assembly. Step 1. Planning and design. Simplified design. Aim for a smaller, simpler frame. Use pre-cut wood where possible to reduce the need for noisy power tools.
Yeah.
Materials and tools. Focus on hand tools and quieter assembly methods. Use prefabricated parts as much as possible. Step 2. Materials: wood and lumber pre-cut pine boards, 1 in. X12 in. 5 4 feet. Pine common board, home bow. Pine project panels, edge glued panel, common, 1 in. X12 in, actual, 0.709 in.
Yeah, so like this is one that, yeah, these are all power tools. But there's a cordless one. But yeah, there's a cordless one for cheap. So I might be able to get by with a cordless one. Is there like a hand cranked circular saw? Yeah. Yeah, this is what I want. All right, how does this work? Oh, it's for food. It's for pizzas. Yeah, a hand crank rip saw. Like why can't I just use like some of these old school things? Yeah, a hand crank table saw. Give me one of these. I mean, it's probably dangerous as all heck. I'm gonna cut my hand off with it, but I'm sure it's a lot safer to use the modern tools, which I'm sure I can do. Yeah, I'm just if I try to.
5.25 in. These are pre-finished panels that can be used for the frame. Fasteners and adhesives: wood glue. Head bond original wood glue minus $7.98.
If I stray too much from modernity, I'm just going into places in the past where safety was really bad. So yeah, look at this. Look at this. It should cost under $500 to create something that I could probably sell for $5,000 to $1,000 if it turns out to be like really cool. Like, I mean, I would pay. Like, it'd be cool to pay for something like, especially something like this. Yeah, so like you could hook this up to a computer, and it's an automated pipe organ. Like a lot of people, I think would it'd be easy to find someone who wants to pay for this. Like in a business, like a museum, you can do it and have it play music with stuff. Like it'd be easy to sell that for like a lot of money. And it looks like it would cost like $500 to make something like that. But you have to have a woodworking shop. And you have to be safe. That's the most important thing. Yeah, so I think I'm going to move on from this, but we can see, you know, just how insane what we have today could potentially be. I mean, I could potentially go and actually build this this pipe organ. You know, I'll make mistakes. It'll be hard, but I've got the plan here. So so let's let's just look up so now here's the tools I need. So I need a we're going to duplicate this, and I need a circular saw. So this is a DeWalt circular saw. Gives me all the dimensions. So 7 1/4 inch. Yep. Then I need some clamps. Okay. And I'm just gonna take some time here and make this for myself. So I need 36-inch clamps. Here they are. Okay. And then and I think this fits here because I'm demonstrating right now just how powerful this thing is today. And you know, this is the worst it'll ever be, and it's helping me operate in a similar way as Bach, JS Bach. You know, I'm able to do and I already have a drill. So I already have a drill. Okay, and then a sander. Cordless sander. And it's a 20 volt, 5-inch. Yep, this is it. And sander costs a lot. Okay, and then this is where it gets tricky. Leather or synthetic material. Oh, we have leather here. Yeah, this is leather. I don't know if it. So it's a fabric swage. That should work. Yeah. So here's some actual bellows. Yeah. So these are actual bellows. Yeah, so they have real bellows that I could just use. Okay, but we'll go with that for now. Then we need these small brass hinges. Sorry, I'm taking a really I've been like obsessed with this ever since I learned that ChatGPT might actually allow me to do this. Because first of all, it's just cool. Like I'm the kind of guy that thinks this is cool. So this is 1 1/2. So this is not that. Nail hinge 2-pack. Okay, I need a 4-pack. Okay. All right. And then I need some tubing. Clear tubing. Half inch by 10 foot. Yeah. Wow. This is so cool. Then some paint. Varnish. All right, and then paint brushes. This is so cool. Sandpaper. Okay, then wood filler. I already have a tape measure, but it's not 25 feet. Okay, and then yeah, tape measure and then a pencil and marking tools. All right, and now let's create a spreadsheet for this. Okay, great. Now create for me a spreadsheet that I can upload to Google Sheets that has everything I need to make this project happen, including things like project management, but definitely include like the inventory, the prices, and just everything I need to really make this project happen. So I'll be working on this in my 1 bedroom apartment, on my porch or in my garage. So I'll have to be running some power tools at some point, but it should just be like, for like a few hours on the weekend or something like that. It shouldn't be too crazy. Like other people in my complex run power tools sometimes, and then there's like the leaf blower crew that gets really noisy. So it's like it should be fine if I'm just running power tools like during the weekend for a few hours, like in the afternoon. So yeah, distill all of this down into, or like not necessarily distill, but like use the best, act as an expert in the knowledge domain and create for me a Google Sheets document. Look at that. That is insane. It's all, and 2027, it's going to act 2 orders of magnitude better than it's acting now. It'll mail me all these parts. Like it'll just mail the parts. They'll arrive at my door. And beyond that, I'll have a form factor for this, and a robot will just build it all for me. or like a 3D printer, a 3D assembler. Imagine that. Imagine instead of a 3D printer, you have a 3D assembler. And it just comes here and it puts together all of this, and now I have this this goofy sounding and goofy looking pipe organ hogging up space in my apartment that I never
I
use.
created a detailed spreadsheet for your pipe organ project, including all necessary materials, quantities, unit prices, and total costs.
Wow.
You can download the spreadsheet from the link below and upload it to Google
Look
Sheets for
at
project management and tracking.
that.
Download pipe organ project materials spreadsheet. This should help you
Wow.
organize and manage your project efficiently. Good luck with your pipe organ building. If you have any more questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask.
That is crazy. Oh, it's opening it in LibreOffice. That is absolutely bizarre. And this is the worst. Wow. It's designed for Google Sheets. So let's sign into Google Sheets, and then let's import it. Look at that. That is crazy. That is absolutely, positively insane. Oh my god. So it's only going to cost me, it's going to cost me less than $400 to make this thing. And if it ends up being like really cool, oh, I could so easily sell it everywhere around town. Churches, so many places for $5,000, $10,000. There's so many like churches that are just using like a piano or something, and it's like not even a good piano, that I'm sure would like want one of these. Like even just people like around town would want one and might be able to cough up $5,000 to $10,000 for it if they want it bad enough. Wow. So, okay, then I'll add to this and I'll say Home Depot links. And then I'll just link by link go through and include it. Okay. And honestly, I can just put it like this. Oops, so it behaved unpredictably, and I can't undo what it did. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now, yeah, so now I can add a column. And yeah, now I can include the links. So this is a 1 inch by 12 by 12. So this is the link for that. This is absurd. Now it's a 1 by 12 by 6. Okay. Look at this. Now it's a 1 by 12 by 4. Look at that. This is unbelievable. 1 by 12 by 8. All right, now the glue. Look at this. This is okay. Now the 1 by half inch screws, and these are flathead screws, wood screws. 1 by yep. So 1 by half inch. Yeah, Everett number 8. Okay. And then number 8, 3/4 inch flatheads. Okay. All right, and then we need a grip right. Yep. So there we go. 1 to 1/2 inch for a penny. Number 15. Yep. I need a 1 pound pack, but wow. My mind is blown. And you could think, how scary is this? Because you could create a bioweapon doing this. You could create a nuclear bomb doing this. This is powerful technology. I mean, it's yeah. Oh, these are the clamps. So there we go. And then a drill I need as well. There we go. Wow. And then a sander, which costs us $1 million. And we can see that it's vastly underestimating the actual prices. Sander is not going to cost $5. It's going to cost $500 for a really good one. Oh, you know what? That's a sanding block, so a little bit different. Okay, so this will need to be improved later, but for now, I just want to finish this and then go back to being on topic. Oops, the PVC tubing, I don't have that. Oh, you know what? I did have the tubing. Yeah, the tubing's right here. All right, and then the paint. Yeah, here's the paint. All right, and now the varnish. Okay, and now the brushes. Okay, and then sandpaper. And the wood fiber. Tape measure. And then the carpenter pencils. Okay, so that's not going to be what it costs, but it'll be close enough. With all of these, so calculate the total price. So calculate the total price if I would buy everything in these links. If I were to buy each of those links. Yeah, so look at that. It's getting the prices. So it should get the price of the sander. The price of the sander is going to be like $200 or $200 or $300. Yeah, so the sander yeah. Okay, so the actual price is going to be...
The total price for purchasing all the items from the provided Home Depot links is approximately $765.50.
Okay.
This includes all the materials, tools, and supplies you need for your pipeworking project. If you have any more questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask.
Okay, so I think I'm good with this for now. We're going to say a pipe organ project. Okay, I'm saving it in Google Drive, and then we'll save a link to the chat. So we're unable to share it because there's no images supported. So I'll just include this ChatGPT link. Okay, and look at this. I've got all my inventory for my project. So, okay, so tell me all of the spreadsheets I might need, or like, not even spreadsheets. Act as an expert in the domain of knowledge, and tell me everything I need to complete this project. So right now what I have is a spreadsheet that has various rows and columns. The columns are category, item, quantity, unit price, total price, and then links where I can purchase the thing I needed. And then the categories, we've got lumber, we've got fasteners and adhesive, tools, bellows and wind supply, decorative materials, miscellaneous. So like act as an expert and tell me like what this sort of spreadsheet would constitute in like technical jargon of like building this sort of project, and then introduce me to more concepts for like more sorts of things that I need to get this project done.
Certainly, to complete your pipeworking project efficiently and effectively, you want to have comprehensive project management and tracking systems. Here's a breakdown of the different types of spreadsheets and concepts you might need. 1. Bill of materials, bulk, purpose, lists all materials and components needed for the project. Columns,
Yeah.
category, item, quantity, unit price,
So
bill
this
price,
is the
supply link.
bomb.
Categories, lumber, fasteners and adhesives, tools, bellows and wind supply, decorative materials, miscellaneous. 2. Project timeline and Gantt chart purpose, tracks the project schedule and progress. Columns, task, start date, end date, duration, dependencies, status. Tasks, research and design, materials procurement, lumber preparation, frame assembly, pipe construction, bellows construction, keyboard installation, tuning and testing, decorative finishing, final assembly. 3. Task list and assignment purpose, breaks down the project into actionable tasks and assigns responsibility. Columns, task, description, assigned to, priority, due date, status, notes. Tasks, similar to the Gantt chart but more detailed, including subtasks. 4. Budget and expense tracking purpose, tracks budgeted versus actual expenses. Columns, category, item, estimated cost, actual cost, variance, notes. Categories, same as the BOM. 5. Inventory management purpose, tracks inventory levels of materials and tools. Columns, item, quantity on hand, quantity needed, supplier, restock date. Items, all materials and components listed in the BOM. 6. Quality control checklist purpose, ensures each component meets quality standards. Columns, component, checkpoint, inspection date, inspector, status, notes. Components, frame, pipes, bellows, keyboard, decorative elements. 7. Supplier and contact information purpose, keeps track of supplier details and contacts. Columns, supplier, contact person, phone, email, website, notes. Suppliers, for all materials, tools, and components. 8. Maintenance and troubleshooting guide purpose, provides guidance for maintaining and troubleshooting the organ. Columns, component, common issues, troubleshooting steps, maintenance schedule. Components, pipes, bellows, keyboard, wind supply system. Example layout for each spreadsheet bill of materials, bulk, category, item, quantity, unit price, dollar, total price, dollar, supplier link, lumber 1 in. X12 in. Bud 12 feet. Pine common softwood board 230.4860.96 link fasteners and adhesives head bond 128 FL. Oz. Original wood glue 121.9821.98 link tools DeWalt 15 amp corded 7-1/4 in. Lightweight circular saw 1129.00129.00 link bellows and wind supply overbuild 1/2 in. I, D. By 5/8 in. O, D. By 10 feet. Clear vinyl tubing 18.238.23 link decorative materials bare premium plus 1 gallon. PRW 15 ultra pure white eggshell enamel 132.9832.98 link project timeline and Gantt chart task start date and day duration dependency status research and design 20240701 20240703 3 days and incomplete materials procurement 20240704 20240706 3 days research and design in progress lumber preparation 20240707 20240709 3 days materials procurement not started frame assembly 202407 10202407 12 3 days lumber preparation not started pipe construction 202407 13 202407 15 3 days frame assembly not started bellows construction 202407 16 202407 18 3 days pipe construction not started keyboard installation 202407 19 202407 21 3 days bellows construction not started tuning and testing 202407 22 202407 24 3 days keyboard installation not started decorative finishing 202407 25 202407 27 3 days
Okay.
tuning and testing not started final assembly 202
Okay, now turn those examples into downloadable files and make sure that they're complete. What? This is absolutely insane. I gotta pause. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So, yeah, it's. Oh shoot, there's a syntax error. Okay, it's still working. Isn't this? Am I the only one that's my jaw is dropped to the floor? I mean, imagine what this means when it's better. This is already. This this is primitive. This is primitive. Yeah, so I guess back to the reading. Industry. Industry's good. That we don't need slavery anymore because we have industry. And that means over the course of lifetime, now we're seeing that exponential growth in the global economy. So at least 4 times, if not even 5 or 6, the global economy can double, and it's been doing that since 1903, with the growth mode being industry. But we're entering the era of super intelligence, and it should be getting to dominate around 2030. Wow. Yeah, and jeez. All right, so provide a divisive and overwhelming military advantage. So even early cognitive superintelligence might be enough here. Perhaps some superhuman hacking scheme can deactivate adversary militaries. In any case, military power and technological progress has been tightly linked historically, and with extraordinarily rapid technological progress will come concomitant military revolutions. The drone swarms and robo armies will be a big deal, and they are just the beginning. We should expect completely new kinds of weapons, from novel weapons of mass destruction to invulnerable laser-based missile defense to things we can't yet fathom. There's going to be so many things like that. I mean, I honestly couldn't fathom building my own pipe organ, and now not only can I imagine it, I'm actively planning it. It's just a matter of buying the materials and trying to make it happen. Compared to pre-superintelligence arsenals, it'll be like 21st century militaries fighting a 19th century brigade of horses and bayonets. I discuss how superintelligence could lead to decisive military advantage in a later piece. Be able to overthrow the US government. Whoever controls superintelligence will quite possibly have enough power to seize and control from pre-superintelligence forces. And we could see exactly how that would happen. I mean, imagine if it were creating for me instructions to overthrow the government rather than instructions to build a pipe organ in my apartment. I mean, it's just it's operating at the level of a particularly bright high schooler that would win the science Olympiad by building this organ. It's dumb. And it's the dumbest it'll ever be. Even without robots, a small civilization, they convince you to vote a certain way. Even without robots, a small civilization of super intelligences would be able to hack any undefended military, election, television, etc. system, cunningly persuade generals and electorates, economically outcompete nation states, design new synthetic bioweapons, and then pay a human in Bitcoin to synthesize it, and so on. In the early 1500s, Cortez and about 50 Spaniards conquered the Aztec Empire of several million. Pizarro and around 300 Spaniards conquered the Inca Empire of several million. Alfonso and around 1,000 Portuguese conquered the Indian Ocean. They didn't have a godlike power, but Old World's technological edge and an advantage in strategic and diplomatic cunning led to an utterly divisive advantage. Superintelligence might look similar, and it's earlier than that. Even in the 1980s, or the Gatling gun. Yeah. So there were, yeah, like in the 1970s, people were able to use just like Gatling guns to overtake large portions of land. And a Gatling gun is such a primitive technology, and imagine what you could do with a super intelligence. You wouldn't even have to kill anyone. You just completely rewire their brains to do what you want them to do. I don't know why it's not able to do this. All right, so continuing on. Yeah, so superintelligence might look similar. So here's the progress over time, and here's today. So we've still got a bit of time to go, but once we get that automated AI researcher, cognitive labeler, science, technology, robotics, military advantages, GDP, will progress at ways unimaginable today. I mean, we can imagine it. Like, look, I'm actively working towards building a home pipe organ. Imagine me actively building towards a super weapon where I could, just whatever I say is what goes, and if you don't agree, then click, I flipped a switch on my super weapon, and either now you do agree or you're dead. We're entering an age where I just do the same method I'm doing here to do the pipe organ, but instead of building the pipe organ, I build this super weapon. All right, so figure 26. Explosive growth starts in the narrower domain of AI research and development. As we apply superintelligence to research and development in other fields, explosive growth will broaden. Robots. A common objection to claims like those here is that even if AI can do cognitive tasks, robotics is lagging way behind, and so will be a brake on any real-world impacts. I used to be sympathetic to this, but I've become convinced robots will not be a barrier. For years, people claimed robots were a hardware problem, but robot hardware is well on its way to being solved. And then the other thing is, I'm a robot. I'll gladly do what a superintelligence tells me to do if it's to my benefit. Humans can operate like a robot. They're just slower. They have to eat. They get lazy. But it's a good solution to the problem of not having robots. So increasingly, it's clear that robots are an ML algorithms problem. LLMs had a much easier way to bootstrap. you had an entire internet to pre-train on. There's no similarly large data set for robot actions, and so it requires more nifty approaches. For example, using multimodal models as a base, then using synthetic data slash simulation slash clever reinforcement learning to train them. All right, so I'm going to advance the bookmark here. And I'll check back in on, so we could say it's still got a ways to go now before it can help you build a super weapon. I'm not creating a super weapon. I'm creating a pipe organ here, and it's failing to help me with that. But you know what? I know how to do this. So the analysis errored here, so I think it's trying it again. So it's doing the bomb data, it's trying it again, and then it errored again. So there's an undetermined string. Sorry, can you solve the? Can you fix this? So you keep having an error. So you keep getting this error. Can you please fix it? Or work around it, please. I already have the bomb, so you don't need to worry about that. Yeah, so now it should be able to either skip generating the bomb. Yeah, so it looks like it's skipping generating the bomb. It's gonna generate the project type line and Gantt chart now, because I already have the bomb, so I don't need to get it. Yeah, and look at this. I can assign this to other people. I can pay other people, on TaskRabbit to do this for me. And that would just add to my costs, which my costs are already very, very low. So this is insane. This is absolutely insane. I think I might do that. I'll just pay someone from TaskRabbit to get all this stuff for me and drop it off in front of my garage. Wow. Whoa.
Here are the downloadable files for your pipe organ project. Project timeline.
Okay, so here's my project timeline and Gantt chart. Okay, so let's put that in my project folder. And we don't need this file anymore. To trash. And then we're going to import a file. So we have to do that somehow. I think if we click on new, and then we click on more, there should be a way. Oh, so we can click on file upload. Now this is the so we got the bomb. Now we need the project timeline. All right. And let's convert this to a Google Sheets document. Google Sheets. There you go, and we'll save it like that. Okay, so we don't need the non-Google Sheets version. And then this is the project timeline and Gantt chart. So let's rename it to that. Okay. And then now we have the task list and assignment. Okay, so we're going to upload the file now. And let's see if we can do a new Google Sheets. Well, you know what, that worked before. We'll stick with that. So here's the task list. Okay, now we can open open with Google Sheets. Okay, and then we'll rename it Okay. All right, and now we have the budget and expense tracking sheet. So we'll do the same thing. We'll open this. File upload. Okay, so pipe organ budget. Okay, so now we're going to open it with Google Sheets. All right, and then what we're going to do is rename it. Wow, this is absolutely just blowing my mind. What a world. And this is, again, this is nothing compared to what we're going to see. We'll have an automated assembler, a 3D assembler that just does this for me. Yeah. Okay, so now we can see what we've got. So we've got task list and assignments. So here's everything we need to do. We need to research and design. Yeah, we've even got it in terms of priority. We've got due dates on it. So I should get this done next week if I want to finish this pipe organ by the end of July. Yeah. Wow, look at that. This is absolutely... So here's the project timeline in Gantt chart. So research and design. Yeah, so it's saying I can get it done before August. Here's the bomb that we worked on before. Here's the project and expense tracking. So this is like for yeah, this is my estimated costs and my actual costs. Okay. So, yeah, if I ever want to build a pipe organ, which I do, here's what I do. Wow. I'm just gonna do a round of applause here because, you know, this is blowing my mind. All right, so there's a ton of energy directing at solving this now. But even if we don't solve it before AGI, our hundreds of millions of AGIs/superintelligences will make amazing AI researchers, as is the central argument of this piece. And it seems very likely that they'll figure out the ML to make amazing robots work. As such, while it's plausible that robots might cause a few years of delay solving the ML problems, testing in the physical world in a way that is fundamentally slower than testing in simulation, ramping up initial robot production before robots can build factories themselves, etc. I don't think it'll be more than that. And one more thing I want to do with the pipe organ, I don't want to really waste a lot of time with that, but we're gonna go to Home Depot. And we're gonna see what I can get delivered. So let's go to Google Drive again. Let's go to Home, and then let's So we're in the pipe organ project. So we're gonna go there, and now let's go to the bill of materials and to the link that I have, and let's see if I can get this delivered to my door. Yeah. So tomorrow I can get it delivered to my door. I can just get all of this delivered to my door, or I could pick it up if I want for free, but it's $39. It's going to be about $40 for this wood, and to get it delivered to my door, it should cost a bit more than that. So let's put it in the cart and see. So we're going to add it to the cart. And then we're going to view the cart. And we'll see. Okay, so delivery costs a lot. But that's okay. I should be able to go and just pick it up myself. Now it is 1 inch by so it is 12 feet long. So it's going to be difficult to get it if I don't have it delivered, because I don't have a 12-foot long vehicle to put it in. So, but I don't have to worry about that. I can get it delivered to my door. That's going to cost extra, but the cost. You know what? This is a one-time delivery cost. So if I put everything I need into a cart, all I need to pay is an extra $80, and I get the whole thing delivered to me, dropped off and dumped into my garage, and then I just go in the garage and I assemble it. So yeah, it should be pretty cool. Wow. Okay. So yeah, this is very possible. It doesn't matter that it's 12 feet long, because I just put everything in my cart, and for an extra $80, it just gets dropped off into my workspace, which will be in my garage, and then I just spend a few hours in my garage every weekend working on this, and before I know it, before the end of July, in a month, I have a pipe organ to play around on and learn some Bach on. And wow. Oh my God. This is really like this is I wow. Just wow. Just wow. That's all I have to say is wow. All right, so how all of this plays out over the 2030s is hard to predict, and a story for another time. But one thing at least is clear: we will be rapidly plunged into the most extreme situation humanity has ever faced, and obviously we will, because again, imagine I'm not building a pipe organ, which I think I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna see what happens with this. Imagine I'm building a super weapon, or imagine I'm building an influence machine to change people's opinion and make them vote a different way in a democracy. Like, yeah, human level AI systems, AGI, would be highly consequential in their own right, but in some sense, they would simply be a more efficient version of what we already know. But very plausibly, within just a year, we would transition to much more alien systems whose understanding and abilities, whose raw power would exceed those even of humanity combined. There is a real possibility that we will lose control as we are forced to hand off trust to AI systems during this rapid transition. More generally, everything will just start happening incredibly fast, and the world will start going insane. Suppose we had gone through the geopolitical fever pitches and man-made perils of the 20th century in mere years. That is the sort of situation we should expect post-superintelligence. By the end of it, super-intelligent AI systems will be running our military and economy. During all this insanity, we'd have extremely scarce time to make the right decisions. The challenges will be immense. It will take everything we've got to make it through in one piece. The intelligence explosion and immediate post-superintelligent period will be one of the most volatile, tense, dangerous, and wildest periods ever in human history. By the end of the next decade, we'll likely be in the midst of it. And honestly, look at the war in Ukraine, because it might look like that. The war in Ukraine is based on propaganda. Like a lot of other countries, like Latvia, had a show on every night debunking propaganda. They're using drones in it. They're using sophisticated artificial intelligent weapons like javelins. Like, yeah, by the end of the decade, we will be in the midst of one of the most volatile, tense, dangerous, and wildest periods ever in human history. A struggle for dominance using superintelligence as the guide. We'll be in the kind of situation that people were in during these times that the author outlined. in the early 1500s. Cortez conquering the Aztec Empire, Pizarro conquering the Inca Empire, Alfonso conquering the Indian Ocean. So the Inca Empire, several million citizens. The the Aztec Empire, several million citizens. They were conquered by about 500 Spaniards, about 300 Spaniards. You know, we're entering a situation where 10, 20, 30, even one person effectively using the super intelligence is going to conquer millions of people. It's just wow. I'm glad I read this, because it's if there's one thing that's clear, it's get used to using these systems, because there's a lot to learn from them, and people are going to be put into different buckets depending on what happens, and you want to be put in a good bucket, so you need to be you probably should be trying to develop your own systems as well that are hyper aligned to your own best interests, rather than relying on a company like OpenAI to always do the best thing for you. It's just wild. Confronting the possibility of an intelligence explosion, the emergence of superintelligence often echoes the early debates around the possibility of a nuclear chain reaction and the atomic bomb it would enable. H.G. Wells predicted the atomic bomb in a 1914 novel. When Szilard first conceived of the idea of a chain reaction in 1933, he couldn't convince anyone of it. It was pure theory. Once fission was empirically discovered in 1938, Szilard freaked out again and argued strongly for secrecy, and a few people started to wake up to the possibility of a bomb. Einstein hadn't considered the possibility of a chain reaction, but when Szilard confronted him, he was quick to see the implications and willing to do anything that was needed to be done. He was willing to sound the alarm and wasn't afraid of sounding foolish. But Fermi, Bohr, and most scientists thought the conservative thing was to play it down rather than take seriously the extraordinary implications of the possibility of a bomb. Secrecy to avoid sharing their advances with the Germans, and other all-out efforts seemed absurd to them. A chain reaction sounded too crazy, even when, as it turned out, a bomb was but half a decade from becoming reality. We must again confront the possibility of a chain reaction. Perhaps it sounds speculative to you, but among senior scientists at AI Labs, many see a rapid intelligence explosion as strikingly plausible. They can see it. Superintelligence is possible. All right, so with that, that's the end of the second section, from AGI to superintelligence to intelligence explosion. So now we're on the third section, which is the challenges that might prevent this. But the author's going to make the case that these challenges are not insurmountable, and in fact, the solutions to them will happen in a way that the year 2030 will be like nothing we can possibly imagine, and it might be as drastic a difference to our daily lives as things like the Incan and the Aztec empires of 100 million people being conquered by a small group of a few hundred people. That's how drastically our lives could change. We have to learn a new language. We have to learn a new religion. We're not living in the same places anymore. We're not doing the same things day to day. It's unimaginable. I mean, it's just there's going to be scientific discoveries, the equivalent of learning how birds fly, you know, and then shortly after putting a man on the moon. That's how much things are going to change in the next decade. So with that, that's the end of this pretty crazy video. I mean, the things we went over here, the discoveries I made with just how ChatGPT operates here and now today. I mean, for $80, I can get all the raw materials I need to build a pipe organ delivered directly to my apartment, to my garage, my workspace area, and following instructions online and aided by ChatGPT and my own self-experimentation. As someone operating at the level of a professional technologist, I should be able to build a full functioning pipe organ just in my 1-bedroom apartment. So yeah, fascinating times we live in today, and oh man, the things down the road, it just boggles the mind to think of. So definitely stay tuned for the next video, because we're gonna keep having our minds blown. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.